Good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, this presentation is called Failed States because with the help of I sometimes get worried that with the help of Chris Williamson's Modern Wisdom podcast with a zany bunch of my generation that it's like I have all the things in common with them, except all of them don't have children and all of them are in some type of corporate thing that I'm identifying as quite a large problem. So now, basically, it's like I'm held as one of really the only that I've seen responsible father archetype from our generation. Like I literally lived the thing that is required, okay? And I have been removed from this fucking laser beam. They're making the fucking thing. No. I've been removed from polite conversations like this because I guess my archetype was too offensive towards feminists and too offensive towards women because of my success. So that kind of proves that women's success and this feminist thing relies on knocking men down and basically disappearing them in concentration camps, which is the same. So feminism was actually a political movement, right? There we go. Feminism actual political movement. You know, this is what led to the social phenomenon of getting me put in jail and fucking arresting people for criticizing the vaccine. It was described as a political movement. Well, feminism is way older and way more dangerous. So it's an actual identifiable political movement. Like other political movements, it relies on degrading and removing its opposition. This is quite common. All throughout the wars, like World War II, like the opposition was in jail, right? So this is what you've done. But then you are unable to get yourself out of the situations you're in, and now you're stuck in this stalemate where you've exposed it all. That's number one. Then secondarily, my archetype, and this is the funniest thing, is like I must be a threat. That's why I don't get distribution. I must be a threat to large-scale economic. Of course I am. I don't want to spend money. Now, this means, like, I'm not a type of person that I'm not a socialist, and I don't believe in not making money. I believe in making money. The way that I would be described, if looked at properly, was I'm a slow capitalist. Right? I'm indeed a capitalist. I intend on making a monstrous amount of money in my life. Okay, so I'm a slow capitalist in opposition to a feminist actual political movement that obviously is more directed towards reckless, fast capitalism. Right? Now, you've got to understand this entire political movement that we're in Australia right now has deleted me. So it is an internal discussion between a now identified feminist actual political movement that is benefiting, that is hyper hyper-curating our economy, our society, our media, our education systems, everything into a reckless, fast capitalism. And that's what we have. Like and now they're stuck where the answer is that, maybe we should let all the responsible dads that can build things and are really efficient with their capital and with their innovation. Maybe we have to let them out. And then we're in the same thing that we're always in. They've committed war crimes because reckless, fast capitalism built horrible things. And it didn't just build horrible things. It destroyed good things. And it's like, we've really got to start asking, how long have we been in this pattern of behavior of? And what type of like basically when's the party going to be over? So we have right now Friendly Geordies. I've got to try and critique him in some way. He's sitting there basically frothing at the mouth, celebrating that his party, the Australian Labor Party, has decided to strip capital gains, and he's declared it that it was an extraction system for the young. But I would claim it's like every single one of those people. Now, I don't agree with them as well, right? But in a slow capitalist, responsible stewardship paradigm, there's other ways, but at least they're holding something. There's other ways to incentivize them to do things, but basically it's like the identifiable problem between the investor class of property investors is having an issue in relation to the feminist actual political movement / reckless fast capitalism. Right? And I think a lot of people, because I was online or because I'm online now and my business was online, it's like my business, that was just to do with like one thing. All of my work was not online. I was still doing the same thing and required to do the same thing. And I had to deal with a degraded reputation of tradesmen and a degraded supply chain, degraded respect for this, all built on because, as I said, this actual political movement of feminism and reckless fast capitalism, it has to destroy the opposition. It has to. It has to say, men, no. So then it's like, hang on, we need the men doing the marketing for us, for our reckless fast capitalism. We need the men doing the banking. We need the men selling us fucking pharmaceuticals and drugs and ADD medication so we can keep up with the pace of our fictional little utopian fast capitalist fucking metropolitan Sex and the City bullshit. Right? So they started recalibrating which men they respected. And they went to the ultimate, bourgeois fucking example. They literally identified the men building the world, and raising the world, and protecting the world. And they said, we don't fucking need them. These are literally the conversations that are going on, just thinly veiled beneath some fucking tech jargon and autistic fucking spurts of gobbledygook. I guarantee you right now, there are people going in that are so highly medicated on ADD medication, right? Living in a world that they created, living with this subconscious knowing that they're literally destroying reality, physical reality. And they're going into another psychopath inside their little circle of trust and being diagnosed for autism when really they're just a drug addict, like terrorist fucking Nazi that's hijacked good standing government and basically built a filter that goes like, Do you know how to build a chair? Then get the fuck out. We don't need chairs in the fucking future. Let's put our fucking Fleet Eagle outfit on. We don't need chairs. You know, like this is literally what they're doing. And then it's like the money, because they basically demanded a reckless, fast corporate world with feminists, with absolutely utopian, elevated, matriarchal feminist rule. And they all did that at once. And then all the money went there because what happens? Well, the women were spending. That's capital. Fast capitalism is high sales, right? Salesmen and capital markets. And this is the thing. We don't need to go to communism. We just need to identify that capital markets are going to go to where the conspicuous spending is, you know, where the reckless spending is. And it's going to be in the creation of a reckless, fast capitalist, like feminist utopian delusion. And then when the money goes there, then the investors go there. Because I'll mention, I'm going to actually send this one to Friendly Geordies, because he's like, oh, the boomers, they bought these investor class investment property caves and then they're renting them out to the thing. It's like they're renting them to those people in the reckless, fast capital feminist movement. They're the ones elevating the hyperinflation, right? By demanding this fucking cocaine fucking binge economy. And then they're not declaring the fact that they're savaging the actual world, all the builders, all the fathers, all the people that, you know, not like tradesmen, like engineers, like everything that doesn't fit on this podium of like tech fantasy fiction has been not just ignored, but actually destroyed to lift them higher. Like this is it. You can see by the money allocation, you can see by the investing allocation. So it's like, and who are you? You're a YouTuber. You're a YouTuber with this political statement. It's like every one of those investors has a chance to be incentivized and should be celebrated for the fact that they've stood guard against this shit. You know, yes, they're in a symbiotic relationship with this movement, so they're not the most dispossessed. They've used our tax laws, our investing thing, their resources, not to build fucking digital apps and fucking and cafes and wine bars in the city, but they've built they've secured housing for them, and they're interacting with a marketplace that dictates those prices. And basically, it's like those prices could be brought back down to a sensible thing, but you need responsible people that are going to actually stand up and fight against gouging and you know, market speculation, all these things. And they're the people that are being destroyed. When you're fucking revved up on Dexies, you know, at your fucking high fucking corporate tech job, you know, floating around listening to 7 podcasts of other people in this echo chamber of utopian fucking fantasy fiction, you're just going to sign, whatever. And you'll actually, counterintuitively, you will want the expensive rental because then it's part of your identity. You can say, I've got a $1,000 a week rent home. Yeah. Well, my company is really going to go. We've got an initial stock offering of like thing, and we're gouging into markets. They're all like, it's like they've got the Social Network, the film about Facebook, like plugged into their brain. You know, they don't have like the baggage I have, which is not baggage to me. It's called children, right? So they've just floated through fucking 20 years of this shit. All their family thinks that they're the fucking like the next Steve Jobs. They don't know. They haven't heard the mythology yet that I basically referred to Steve Jobs the other day as Prometheus, and he's going to be demonized for fucking, you know, the next 1,000 years because he killed millions of people. He tried to make it like they tried to make him Apple Jesus. Yeah, Apple. And the Apple probably killed him. You know, it's like this is what happens. You know, Christianity is a pretty actual feminist political movement. You know, 2,000 years old. It's like Apple and the tech reckless fast capitalism, which is what like that's what like iTunes and all this music shit, all this streaming stuff was all built from iTunes, right? And basically they were like, we went from a world where we were recording off the telly or off the radio or like, you know, of recordings, records and things. And everyone was doing that. And everyone, when I was a kid, grew up with a folder of, you know, compilation CDs that they'd made on their own burner, like that we downloaded from Napster. And then they built everything on top of that, like denying all of those things. And like forced us into communion with this reckless fast capitalism. You know, constantly promising, because it's on a quarterly cycle, it's on investors and free market, you know, stock appraisals and things like that, and driven by this thing. So it's like, and the slow capitalist investors, they were gobbled up by people that were responsible. You know what I mean? It's like, and now you're trying to rob the people that held our country, because that also within that area, there's the tech hedge funds and conglomerates that are trying to then purchase our property to utilize in the continuation of this feminist political movement, reckless fast capitalism. It's the most, like, people are trying to talk about it like we're in Mao's China, like, you know, that everyone is like, even when you defer to it as like, oh, it's caves, people living in caves. It's like, no, we're dealing with 2-3 decades worth of absolutely psychotic people that have been lured into a tech fucking fantasy Venus flytrap. And you're going to rob the fucking people that did the right thing, right? By trying to attack the concept of them doing the right thing. The right thing is holding property, holding assets in responsible markets. They cannot help that the market went insane, and they can't help that you know, and they can't help themselves but be greedy and gobble that up in retaliation. Capitalism, you know, and it pales in comparison of what the tech companies have done to actually all the other physical attributes and businesses and concepts that built all of those houses. You know, basically it's like we've got to get to a point. It's like this digital money, which is what everything you're speaking about. All those taxes are going to be paid in digits, you know, all the capital gains, all the whatever. But we're not talking about digits. We're talking about houses. They're fucking there, right? The problem is the interaction between the digital money that's hyper concentrated in this feminist political movement, reckless fast capitalism, and the physical asset, right? I'm driving a fucking bulldozer through the middle of it. Never the twain shall meet. You're exposed across the board. Albo sat there and guzzled down digital fucking Kool-Aid for his entire thing. You know, these funds are not going to commingle. We are going to continue to put pressure on the overall digital infrastructure, and we are going to bring it to the fucking ground where it belongs. We're going to crash the fucking thing so epically, so astronomically, that no one will ever fucking put their phone and beep on a fucking thing again. No one will ever pull a fucking card out and beep it fucking again. No one will ever fucking do anything except for the most, you know, novelty fucking amusement park, pinball machine, video game bullshit. You know, or maybe a peep show, because that's what it is. You turned the fucking world into a rock concert, a peep show, and a pinball hall. And who did that? The socialist fucking boomers. You want to describe, like, you basically like, oh, the responsible boomers, they bought houses and they're rorting the entire thing. It's like, No, they're standing guard against their generational cohort of fucking hipster fucking wannabe fucking, I don't know, greasers. Not greasers. Greasers is the wrong thing. The hipster wannabe fucking hippies that have socialized our world, turned it into they've turned Christianity into basically a Mesopotamian fucking sacrifice cult. That's like reckless fast capitalism is like, that's what a crackhead is doing when he's going through your underwear drawer trying to find your fucking jewelry. There couldn't be a better example of that. Reckless fast capitalism, and feminist actual political movement. So you get a crackhead going through your underwear drawer, going through your fucking house while you're asleep, right? Just revved off his nuts, right? So he can go to the fucking brothel and go get some meth. All you need to do is change his drug dealer from a man to a woman. Maybe she's a member of the Chinese Communist Party. Where does that meth come from? We want to think that it's from like a bald-headed fucking science teacher and a kind of lovable fucking urchin, white trash crackhead. But I think it's coming from fucking China. I think it's coming through mainland China. And I would say that the moment a crackhead is going through your fucking drawers trying to get your money to buy crack and prostitutes, that's reckless fast capitalism. So is the fucking 30-year-old tech fucking entrepreneur fucking woman, spending money on credit like it's and bolstering up this thing. And basically what I was going to say to this is it's kind of the funniest thing on earth to realize. It's like our system does not know how to discipline women. And that is the most anti-feminist thing you could imagine. And I'm going to explain why. I'm going to need another bit of paper. The idea of feminism is that women were enslaved. They were fucking livestock. They were chattel property, owned and controlled by evil fucking men, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But the truth is, well, at least for my culture, is that wasn't true. See, I had basically a wife, and I provided for her for 12 years so she could raise my children. Something that's almost extinct now. And I'm not that old. A lot of you might be thinking, how on earth could he possibly have done all these things? And at the same time, as I was doing this, for a significant portion of this, I actually had animals. I had cows. Right? I had a cow and a calf at one stage, and I had a wife and children. And so I directly can exactly say the 1,000 differences between those two relationships. They weren't the same at all. I wasn't sitting on a fluffy fucking cushion with my wife fucking, doing things and milking cow. Like that wasn't. I was working my fucking ass off in 7 different ways. I was dealing with children. I was dealing with conflict between her and my mother, who I was also looking for, who was also married to the government. None of these things are fucking true. So it's like women were actually being worshipped in our system. And I don't know what that is. To turn worship into feminism means that what you're trying to do is you felt uncomfortable, I think, subconsciously with the worship, but you've then done the only thing that women know how to do is criticize men. Right? So it's like feminism was born through an inadequate capacity to actually do things. They have not built this under the same ideal that they hold as their thing. They didn't. They just criticized men. And so what happens? We had a worshipped class on pedestals of women. You know, the most simplified version of a woman. This is what my culture had. Right? They were looked after to the highest level. Even delinquents. You know, they weren't able to be disciplined because they were women. It was a different thing. Like, we didn't have a bunch of women, you know, like going down fucking coal mines in chain gangs and things like that. That wasn't the case. Right? So our legal system was built to deal with delinquent men. It was never built to deal with delinquent women, because women were, you are indeed right, considered the property of the man, right? But we always think of this as like, oh, the property, like a fucking stapler. Oh, there was like a stapler. It's like, no, lovey, you were like a fucking, like a jewelry box filled with jewels that he protected with his life and his dedication. You know, it's very, like, you've got to be so careful with the language you use and the underlying perception of the language you've used. There is a difference between a fucking stapler and a prized, you know, protected fucking family heirloom jewelry box, which is how, if women were indeed property, that's how they were treated, you know, literally better than the person himself. Because it wasn't like the men were just like free. You know, they were dealing with this like patriarchal system of work and money and taxes, you know, and religion and social clubs and social standings and reputations, right? Really complicated stuff. And I guess, you know, in their evil fucking patriarchal fucking wisdom, they thought, that's too much for the little lady to deal with while she's, you know, emotionally a little bit unstable every now and then, and she's got, you know, now she's got more time to care for the children. So it's just not the case. So when women entered our political system, right, our judicial system and our like policing system, our laws were not designed to deal with women. Right, and this is one of the most common traits that I see, like this, because masculine culture, and this is this domestic violence thing, right, where domestic violence is now like, did you give me a dirty look under your eye? Go to jail. That's where we are now. It's like the government and our entire police system is acting like the guy that's fucking your wife, not even like her husband. You know, like some fucking aggressive, roid-raged fucking lunatic that's fucking your wife. You know, that's trying, like, and then, like, so anything you do, that's insane. That's not what it was before. You can't imagine that. And why is that? Because it's been infested by actual feminism political movement that relies and is projecting the importance of reckless, fast capitalism. Drug dealers are reckless, fast capitalism. You know, that's the thing. And, you know, can you blame anyone because we've been fed a constant diet of this kind of underground gangster fucking, like, underworld fucking fan fiction that's primed all these women to fucking do this? It's primed those women to not feel safe in slow capitalist fucking, like, you know, ordered patriarchy. But they feel safe, like, I want to feel the wind in my hair and the fucking back of a Harley Davidson while being shot at. Fast, reckless capitalism. It's reckless because it's not even within the law. You know, it's fast because it's literally like, it's on speedboats and all this other shit. And it's definitely capitalism. It's not altruistic. It's ruthless fucking capitalism. But somehow we've trained entire generations of women to think that this is their thing. And they're actually driven towards this. If you hold as the pinnacle of our society, you know, some type of criminal fucking mastermind fucking figure, Whether and you don't have to celebrate it, you just have to, it's just there. It's just there constantly. Now, men have this in one way. Like, men can turn that into something legitimate. Because don't worry, dealing with our slow capitalist system, legitimate system, is still daring. It actually requires both. It requires all the daring of everything else that you would do, everything Underworld would do, but it requires like dedication and discipline to do it properly, and that's fucked, right? Which instantly takes you out of the equation, because women will, the feminist movement, political movement, they'll zoom by you. They'll be like, "Nah, what's he doing? He's not doing anything." Which is hilarious, because it gets me to a point where I go, well, I'm glad all those fucking crazy methed up bitches fucking ran past me, because, you know, and there's no, it's a one-way road. You're not ever coming back. I'm never, ever, ever going to be fucking like interested in any of those people. You know, somehow this Labor Party at the moment and their fucking media mouthpieces are trying to declare that standing still, you know, and protecting your asset is irresponsible. Well, I can guarantee you it's not. You know what I mean? You are floating on an ocean, on an absolute tsunami of digital bullshit. And it is and should be immediately recognized as a political movement, the same as National Socialism, you know, and you're killing people. You know, you want to sit there and blame the people that did the thing that was responsibly done for thousands of years. And you're not looking at the demand. You know, and this is this feminism, this radical fast capitalism, it can't actually organize those people because they're not all goose stepping under and Heil Hitlering. If they were, you could enforce a type of like diligence. You could be like, right, we've all got here, we've all won, now we're all going to get to work. You can't do that. So you've built something that you can't even stop. You can't steer it. You can't stop it. You can't, like, because basically if you had an actual responsibly built political organization, then you could say, we are going to mass negotiate these property prices to responsibly lower the price of rent and get ourselves out of this frenzy. But you can't. Because the minute you do that, you'll be completely exposed for what you're actually doing undeclared. And it's like, we're just going to just keep pinpointing you. We're going to keep identifying this group. You know, and everyone wants to think, like, when you declare Nazis, you say, oh, you know, goose-stepping fucking SS Nazis. You never think of all the women. You know, you don't think of the women being like, oh, darling, where did that bag come from? It's so beautiful. I love it. I love it on my thing. It's like, don't worry, honey. And they know where it came from. They're not like lining up for the movies. They're like, I'm so glad that there aren't so many people at the movies. You know, Nazism is this with Jews. So it's like, okay, in order to elevate the Nazis to provide the promises that Hitler gave them, he just killed the Jews and gave them the Jewish shit that the Jews had worked for. You know, it's reckless fast capitalism. They were already in mountains of debt. It was a meth binge. You know, that's what this is. It's a meth binge. You know, and the junkies are now fucking at the gates, you know, threatening overthrow, threatening a fucking revolution. And I think it's on the table now. You know, I think it's all out in the fucking open. There's no way, even your beloved China, it's like, China, we're going to kill these crackheads if they keep going. You know what I mean? This reckless fast capitalism has done more to damage your people. It's not a cost of war. It's humiliation. It's humiliated both of our cultures. You know, and it's like there is no conducive path forward. All the paths forward require the re-establishment of the appropriate physical world, which means that this digital held delusion needs to be stripped back. You know, the music needs to be turned off. There is no future. You know, it's like collectively we all need to go and peel our fucking munged out fucking daughters and I guess mothers and off the fucking floor of some fucking warehouse rave that the tech companies have been fucking putting on. You know, it's like we need to the identified responsible investors that have been providing to this inflated market. You know, maybe it's time to just collectively, we can incentivize each other. You know, it's time to upscale. It's off the market. No. Where there was a rental that was inflated by your fucking ridiculous cult, your ridiculous Nazi fucking, you know, rave, you know, no, there's no house there anymore. You have 2 weeks to move because the house is going to be I'm going to take the equity and I'm going to invest in the production of like a multiple group of townhouses or a multi-story, you know, a little development that's going to see my family into the future. You know, I'm going to responsibly invest I'm going to go from slow capitalism to like just medium, you know. And in order to do that, I need to take my property off the market. All at the same time. You know, why would I be pinged with this capital gains and sell? You know what I mean? I'm basically going to sell one of them, take the loss, and invest in the others and build something. And that's going to employ people with relevant skills. And none of that requires digital money. I'm just going to ignore the fucking digital money. You know, I'm going to enforce that it's paid for in the physical world. Then the people, the tradesmen I hire, the services I hire, they're going to be like, this guy paid me in physical money. Not whether it's cash or whether it's gold, whether it's silver, whether it's fucking precious gems, whether it's stock options for a property holding company, you know, whatever it is. I'm not dealing with these fucking banks that are perpetuating this. You know what I mean? It's like no one understands that these banks were bought. These big four banks, they're not the big four banks of yesteryear. They've been bought to fuel the tech fucking bubble. Right? The last tech bubble was kind of confined in the halls of Wall Street and promissory notes, promissory stock bonds and all these things. This one is everywhere. You know, basically it's like you take Wolf of Wall Street, or you take American Psycho, whatever it is, you take that, concentrate it to New York. Understand that people, men, whether they're bankers or whether they're crackheads, rummaging through your drawers, they want pussy, right? So they made pussy so fucking cheap. They made it so cheap. They made drugs. They want drugs. They made it so cheap. They want to go out and listen to fucking DJs. So they made it all cheap. But they're spending like nothing. There's nothing there. There's nothing behind it because I just built a wall. You know, their next step to extract, there is a wall there. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's going to be identified. It is the banks, it is the governments, it is the tech companies, it is the political fucking leadership, it is a lot of the parents, all of them have promised their children a socialist fucking utopia. And there is now a fucking wall there. Right? Where there was rentals that were inflated, you inflated them, by the way. Anyone participating in this urban tech fucking celebration, you inflated prices. You inflated everyone's fucking prices. I don't benefit at all from any of that shit that's going on in the city. At all. I don't fuck it. It's like, I mean, it's the most insane thing I've ever fucking seen. So I'm going to basically write the rule book on how to take your current investment, put a fence around it, take it off the fucking market, and force these fucking lunatics to develop their own social fucking strategies. And then we're going to film them. We're going to document the mass migration of these delinquent fucking women, mostly, these delinquent feminists that have been raised and prepared into a system that cannot even discipline them. It doesn't know how. I don't really know how. You know, the problem is it's kind of similar with a man. It's like discipline has to be constantly there throughout their whole upbringing, right? To be really successful. You know, basically what's done to men to appease this cult, to appease this fucking reckless fast capitalism is absolutely atrocious. Absolutely, but it doesn't matter because they're men. But the minute we go to discipline the women, holy shit. And basically by decree, I'm saying we had a system that basically held women at the top, right? And now we have women being perpetually fucking held by their fucking neck over a fucking pit of fucking spikes. You know, because it's the same. Me saying our system doesn't know how to discipline women, that's absolute. You know, and it's like, well, to change this system organically, that's what's required. You know, I can do it with the way I can. I can put political attention towards this concept, right? I can figure out incentives and I can and approach. I can make arrangements to incentivize and educate and all the things, all these slow investor class of property owners to do this all at once. Because it's an identified political movement. It's not like, see, everything is being forced through the socialist lens. Where it's like, this is housing, people need Harvard, you know. People need Harvard. And it's like, I can see your eyes are watering, your mouth is watering, you know, just thinking about your little revolution that you're threatening us with. And it's like, yeah, there were houses. There aren't anymore. Those people are building the future of Australia. Where there was one house, in 2 years, there'll be 4, or there'll be 6, or there'll be 10, or there'll be 20. But that's not happening right now. You know, we're going to need people to work on there, but your reckless feminist political movement and your reckless capitalism hasn't really filled you with the skills that we need. You know, so we don't really want to pay you. We'd rather bring in temporary batches of labour to do our investments. You know, and we're going to pay them in physical currency, in whatever it is. You know, they might get houses. Yeah, that's the type of deals you can do when you have skills and when you have these things. You know, basically, I have one house being rented to a feminist fucking socialist. I take it off the market for 2 years. I employ labour, and what the payment for the house is one of those houses. You know what I mean? That's actually how business works. But because we're in a world where housing is being commoditized and it's like being it's a thing. So what happens in the socialist idea, in the renter's paradise, the asset is constantly being rented, you know, or it's constantly being mortgaged. You know, whereas a capitalist mindset, because sometimes slow capitalists work quickly. You know, if there's a project, they get it done quickly because there's an incentive. They're getting paid that amount. They're not getting promised like a fucking handout, drip feed every month or every week. So it works differently. So I can go around the world and tender to around the world. I'll be like, right, I need a set of units made, like set of townhouses made with 4 things. At the end of the day, you get one. You get a wholly owned, and we, I'll provide the whatever. And whether I end up selling those or whether I end up renting them, I've done my job. And to do my job, I need to take my rental off the fucking market. And I need to encourage everyone to do the same. This is what, so it's like, before you pat yourselves on the back, Chalmers and Jordan and Albo, you've just completely made an entire fucking generation of selfish brats homeless. You know what I mean? And this is what they're going to have to go home. Them going home is going to put pressure on their marriages, which is going to create domestic violence, which is going to create demand for the houses even more. There's going to be meltdowns. There's going to be abuse. There's going to be just mental distress, all the things, because you built a system that harvests the inadequacies, that harvests the result of negligent parents. That's what all it does. You can be a responsible parent, collect things, protect property, build up skills, have access to things, and then at the right time, appropriately, value add that product for long-term investment. That's not Thimble Cave. It's not that, is it? Think how many things are required. If you're doing it in a family capacity, it requires constant maintenance and little bits of discipline for your entire family. Now, how was I able to discipline politely my family members, my children, when you've fucking stuck them in a fucking rental house with 2 fucking alcoholics? And it's like, what do I do? Oh, I might buy that house. Put that on hold. Value add it into 4. It's like you're playing this game of steal kids, stick them in rentals, protect them with fucking imported police, and then celebrate this feminist, reckless, fast capitalism for some utopian, debt-fueled fucking nothing land. And then your only thing now is to be basically, we're going to steal half your money in capital gains. There's no way this is going to happen. There's no way. It's like you're in, when people do those artificial portfolios where they you don't actually put any money down and you're just speculating on paper. It's like that's what you're doing, but you're doing it in government. You're fishing in government for the solutions, which is that's you can't get yourself out of this situation. You can't govern yourself out of this situation because you haven't preconceived it. You know what I mean? You're governing with magic beans. And that's insanity. And unless you apply an invasion, and then then we get to defend. The moment an invasion is kind of imminently threatened, it's defense will come. The whole hierarchy will be gone out. So you expect to maintain a feminist actual political movement with a reckless fast capitalist tech, digital currency fucking wank fest with no leadership. And then what's your plan? Oh, we made artificial intelligent Albo. Well, it's we've already seen artificial intelligent Albo. He's gone viral. He's on every small business person's page saying that Albo's their silent investor. It's you're fucked. There we go. I've already seen that. I can't tell whether they were real or not. It's all over. It's all over. Unless you have up your sleeve the actual solution to this problem, you're fucked. You know, you did the thing that we knew you were going to do, and we have preparations for it, and you're fucked by it. You've fucked yourself up. You know, in your government's model, you've basically just bankrupted yourself. You can't pay for the care. You can't pay for the protection. You can't pay for the housing. You can't pay for the medical shit. You can't pay for anything. And while you're going bankrupt, we're going to build Australia in the way that we've always built it, slowly and responsibly. You know, the only thing is to introduce an individual evolution renaissance right now. That's what I'm doing. That's what I display every day. You know, there needs to be you need to basically fire every single teacher in the country and then explain to them how badly you fucked their lives up, because there is no need for them. You know, the only hope that these merging, combining families that are going to be forced back together because of these economic situations, they're going to be forced into multi-generational living situations, which isn't bad. You know, it's only bad when you're stuck, you know, being on the rev fucking crack pipe going, oh my God, I'm going to be a tech fucking girl. My app's meant for only girls. I'm going to be rich. I've got 10 investment properties. I don't know how to build anything. It doesn't matter. I'll get all the slaves to build. I'm like fucking ISIS. I'm like ISIS on the top of the fucking Labor Party pyramid. Oh my God, look at me. Fuck you. No, you've got a government of fucking crackheads and prostitutes. You've got to figure out how to move all of those crackheads and prostitutes back in with their parents and self-educate them. Like, this isn't like re-education camps. This is like, because there was never an education to begin with. It's actually just education. It's like, guess what, kids? School didn't finish. Yeah, put down the crack pipe, put down the fucking dildo, put down the webcam. It's time to go back home and learn how to be an adult. You know what I mean? And if any of you little grubs rocks up at any fucking site that's you know, building the new Australia slowly but carefully with your fucking crack horse shit or your meth head fucking garbage or your fucking, you know, you fucking, I don't even know. Your laptop nomad bullshit, you can fucking go home back to your parents' house. You know, it's like you're going to learn how to build things by day, and then by night, you're going to educate yourself independently. At the same time, hopefully by osmosis, you can educate your parents a little bit. And that's the only way forward for Australia right now. You know, and it means like where obviously there's going to need to be allowances for efficient like childcare. And it's like, but so many things are going to change. So many things. You were going into a system, like basically you've only concentrated on acquiring the funds, and the funds are the problem. Right? And that exposes you completely. So you've done this, you've acquired the funds, but none of those funds are going to get to you, right? And you're absolutely going to, now the funds that you had promised that you're going to get are not going to come. And instead what you're getting is the thing that had not been done, because we're constantly told there's a housing crisis. So people weren't taking their property off the market to value add it. And now they are going to do that. And so now there's no property there. You know, it's like this is the problem when you have a bunch of like political secretaries and YouTubers and fucking, I don't know, dancing influencers in your team. You don't know how to do the job that you basically at gunpoint forced into our system. You don't know how to do the job. You know, when that happens, it's not like, I'm not talking about the Prime Minister resigns. I'm talking about the entire Labor Party in every state needs to resign. You do not have any fucking plan. And we're not sitting in confinement in your prison feeding you the notes on how to repair the damage you've done. You either all resign or we fucking kill every single last one of you. That's it. You have fucked the pig. You have completely fucked the pig. You need to get the fuck out of our fucking government, out of our fucking houses. You need to grow a fucking mustache or dye your hair, and you need to change your fucking name, and you need to fucking seamlessly blend into Australia that's actually going to be built. There is no fucking digital future in this feminist political movement or in this reckless fast capitalism. It's like and how do I know? It's like, well, because I'm dealing with only really two major tech companies, like wholeheartedly. One of them I'm in massive criticism of. So Meta, I'm actually pretty optimistic about. Google, I'm basically 40% in criticism. Right, and then that's it. And then Apple is the cause of all of this shit. Yeah, but Apple has a chance to redeem themselves if they fall back to where they were. And the same with Microsoft. Microsoft has this place. Like Microsoft built the first version of this that was actually good. And that's how they stand. So I guess there's four. There's four tech companies that are holding the future of the world. And why do I know that? What? Because it's in their interest to take their success in an example of slow capitalist development and then bolster that commitment by the physical world. So we're all going to be sitting in the library again looking at Encarta 95. That was the bet. That was the height. That was the appropriate place we should have been in. That's what built this boomer class of investors that responsibly and stably invested in a property portfolio. It's not for a YouTuber, the absolute archetype of no overhead, thing. And it's like basically a YouTuber, what you're doing to persuade this as good legislation would have been considered like terrorism. You're a terrorist. You're a saboteur. Like you don't pay anything. You're for some reason pandered towards the media when other people aren't. It's like I will decree in any court, I'll say, well, pre-COVID, there were about 10 friendly Geordies. And post-COVID, there's only one. That's it. That's what happens. That's what you've built. It's so exposed right now because it's so simple and optimistic and like utopian that's you literally are like that. You're like, oh, we've got one YouTuber. We've got one prime minister. We've got one thing. Like we've got one woman communications minister battling the tech giants and being successful. It's like, no, you don't. You have like, you're living. It's weird. Like you're relying upon all of these digital assets and this frenzy of feminism. You're relying on that completely, but that is also creating all the problems. And that I think is basically what government has morphed into. It's created into, it basically panders to a particular class that brings chaos that they can fix. But it's a fucking Ponzi scheme. It's like not even in the financial sense, although the financial sense is, but you just pander towards an element. You turn an element that was the most productive, like women were the most productive element in society. They did so many things in this way that was just flawless, and it wasn't all male driven. There was the man was there individually, and then they basically dealt with an entire area of things, and they didn't even have to pay for anything. It wasn't the same thing. So these women weren't like forced in chains in their marriage. They were escaping from the women into their marriage. And it's just never explained like this. You know, and now you have, it's like there's just no, because if you're an OnlyFans star, you know, recently plugged into MyGov, where do you escape to? You know, the delusion you're going to be OnlyFans by day. Oh my God, I had such a hard day at OnlyFans. And now I'm going to go back to my marital home. What? What the hell are we talking about? You know what I mean? There's basically these slow capitalists, and if you're really successful slow capitalists, you are Donald Trump. You know, you're at that level, or you're Murdoch or something like that, right? I don't mean, it's not slow socialist capitalism. It's slow like proper capitalism where there's no limit, right? So you can reach the absolute pinnacle, right? So we've seen what the pinnacle did with their money. You know what I mean? They fucked underage girls on an island. Pretty much par for it's exactly what you'd expect. And anyone that says that they didn't is a liar, right? So the slow capitalists, they got a guy, they knew a guy who built an island who had underage girls there because that was a bit of a novelty. She's 6 months old, a bit risky. You know, that's like getting a Cuban cigar. I didn't build the world. I can just talk about it. Right? That's what the slow capitalists did. The feminist political movement, reckless fast capitalism, what did they do? In this, they socialized Epstein Island, which is way, way worse. They didn't just say, oh, those class of ultra elite rich are doing things with underage. They went, everyone should be able to do things with underage girls. Let's digital fucking surveillance system, you know, and a media indoctrination system that normalizes all of this, and let's do it with digital make-believe money, so we can make them all feel rich. Let's display all these women walking around with high heels and handbags, like shooting money out of their fucking orifices, and let's indoctrinate generations to do what Epstein girls did for tens of thousands of dollars for 20 cents. Socialism. And then let's try and have a battle where it's like, basically there is half of the Epstein files are redacted, right? And there's like millions, right? There's millions. And it's like, we don't need the socialist Epstein files because we live in the socialist Epstein files. So imagine that logic. It's like we're a bunch of socialist fucking European Union fucking PR and marketing fucking psychopathic Nazis. We've built a socialized Epstein Island that is literally mandatory. If you don't align with it, you go to jail. And we're going to use this selective surveillance, illegal surveillance, intelligence operation against this level of elite capitalists to try and bring them down, in the whatever, by their potential association with this tiny little island, this little boutique fucking, bed and breakfast model. Think about that logic. And that's where I am. It's like, but I'm not distributing sex trafficking. You know what I mean? But I am the little boutique, small business owner. It's like basically the moment you try to apply the OnlyFans or the Uber or the Netflix version of my trade, we will fucking kill you. The moment you will go to work or you will just be dead. It's like that's not an acceptable trajectory for a trade that is thousands of years old, for a trade that stands as the most prominent monumental display in the most holy religious places in the world. And you think you're going to fucking replace us with a bunch of fucking Amazon warehouse workers and not get in a fight, we are going to fuck you up. We are going to decimate every single level of your shit. You know what I mean? And it's like Amazon. If you want to continue doing business in Australia, you need to fucking condemn the actions of the Australian Labor Party. Otherwise, all of your workers that you underpay, that you underserve, that you fucking exploit, all of your customers that you underserve, that you fucking whatever, that you overcharge and you exploit, are all going to be at risk because you are opposing one of the oldest trades, one of the oldest professions, one of the most symbolically prevalent professions, you know, an offshoot of it, you know, health, religious, the most identifiable, the most protected buildings in the world. And this is what you do. You know, the Amazon world, the Labor Party world, you know, when the crackhead delinquent fucking junkies are fucking throwing rocks through the fucking stained glass windows, they'll replace them with fucking perspex fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? Even better, they'll be like, oh, the church, that window, it looks old-fashioned. Let's put a McDonald's drive-through there. You know what I mean? That is not making any money. Let's put a fucking billboard there. Let's put a Coke advertisement there. Let's put an Ozempic fucking poster, like billboard over that wall. You know, people are only in there intermittently. They don't even, you know, like that. You think we're not going to fucking defend that? You know what I mean? You're not just taking a bridge down to get your boat through. It's like you're deconstructing the physical world to stick your dick in every fucking woman for nothing. It's way worse. You know, you've got some fucking things you've got some making up to do. All of you. You know, with Jeff Bezos, it's difficult to say that he's not, you know, participating in a feminist fucking actual movement, reckless, fast capitalism, because he's the poster child of reckless, fast capitalism, because he destroyed every bookshop with a fucking shop that sells nonsense with slave labor, you know. And why is he part of the actual political feminist movement? Well, because it's called Amazon. You know, not because, and he's like, it's called Amazon. He wants you to think it's because of the second largest river in the world, but it's called Amazon because that's the archetype of an all-female army that conquers and destroys the fucking world. Look at his ad here. It's like, oh, I want to buy something for mum, but I don't want to fucking spend much money. Amazon. Like that's the reason that's culturally taboo is because that individual raised you. She basically sacrificed her entire life to raise you. And Amazon's trying to profiteer from like this, you know, slight hint towards, hey, mum, I don't care about you at all. I don't reflect any of the things you've done for me at all. And I don't even want to spend any money on you. And I'm utilizing this fucking hideous fucking Amazon warehouse, socialist fucking monopoly, fucking digital fucking cult in order to fucking do that. You know, I'm slightly humiliating you on public television. Like, does anyone else get that weird? It's like, it's because we're so used to ads that no one's like, you know, but because that ad is from another era. It's from an era where people couldn't do what I'm doing. They couldn't, and they didn't talk to their phones all the time. But now that people do, right, that's normalizing that. It's way different. It's like, I'm using a phone that I got maybe off Amazon to like basically say that I don't want to spend any money on my mom because I'm basically hoping that she dies soon so that my Amazon, you know, my Amazon shares can go up because we can bulldoze her house down and build a fucking Amazon warehouse. It's like the identifiable, like, the identifiable thing of Amazon is a generic box arriving by a generic fucking nameless, faceless fucking delivery driver, you know, through a generic supply chain that no one understands anything about. You know what I mean? It's like you shop at Amazon, you become a product at Amazon in the real world. And that's why there's a kind of war going on in the tech world where they're like, oh, if you don't pay for the product, you are the product. Right? And I'll say that probably in Meta's case, probably a little bit of that. But they have a better plan than shipping generic boxes of fucking bullshit. It's a higher order plan than that. You know what I mean? If you don't know who made the thing, who packed it, who delivered it, if you didn't interact with a person when you bought it, then you're the product. You're the fucking product. All the camaraderie is all gone. It's like you can't stop while you're at an Amazon warehouse. There's no business, there's no workflow culture. This is sabotage. This is high level sabotage. It's basic, and it's like when you understand that a bomb is just a series of moving parts and chemical reactions and things like that. That's what Amazon is. It's a bomb. Right? It's a bomb. It's like this woman and the thing has, TNT strapped to her. Right? Because she's holding the previous thing. Right? The Amazon's already decided that that this is what needs to be distributed as the global situation for women, that they're perpetually hung over a fucking series of spikes and displayed to the world. So Amazon has put a bomb underneath this previous example of the woman that was worshipped and provided for, and they're going to blow her up. And this is what's the thing. It's like these people, these children, and they're like basically perpetual children that are being mothered by Amazons, literally. Look at their advertising, right? In this accelerated Nazi fucking feminist fucking political movement, reckless fast capitalism. Right? They don't know what a book is unless they get a book to display on their bookshelf behind their podcast. You know what I mean? All of this is all cultural, like this is all intellectual property of my culture, of my empire. Just haphazardly gobbled up and claimed. Like I lived through the period where Amazon built their entire business on the back of the cultural fucking intellectual value of the collection of literature for the last 400 or 500 years. And everybody let them do it because why? Because they were able to be invested in. There's a thing where it's like Amazon should have stopped at books. You know what I mean? Are books relevant right now? No, they're not. They're not relevant because we're in the largest disruption towards books because basically I'm writing a book. It's the most ridiculous book that's been written in my knowledge. It's up there with with those original fucking illuminated Bibles. It's fucking priceless. How would I distribute that through Amazon? You can't. It doesn't work. Why would I distribute anything through Amazon? I wouldn't, ever. Why would I buy anything through Amazon? I wouldn't, ever. So it's like, who is? The reason they made it about mothers is because Amazon is the mother. Amazon is your Amazonian Wonder Woman mother now, It's simple fucking just connecting the fucking dots. It's like if I supplied a fried chicken franchise and called it fucking Black Panther or Waganda chicken. Would that be acceptable? Would everyone, with Spidey racist fucking, covert racism fucking Spidey senses fucking prick up if I did that? Wakanda fried chicken. Come on down to Wakanda fried chicken. You know, that's the same as Amazon. You know, because it's a reversal immediately. The mother bird brings the baby bird food, right? It brings it knowledge. Amazon completely denies its prehistory with destroying the knowledge archives, the entire intellectual library of our previous physical bookshelf world. Destroys it, you know, in combination with IKEA, and then claims that it is the mother and that it gives you permission to publicly mock your mother by declaring that she's not even worth an expensive set of glasses. It's a race to the bottom. This constant reference to Temu. I'm the Temu Barbie. I'm the Temu fucking Crocodile Dundee. I'm the Temu fucking whatever. That's a race to the bottom, and it's consenting to that bottom. You know, this Amazon bullshit, they burnt the books. Didn't they? Don't forget that, what was it called when Amazon was fucking, you know, was building its empire? You know, what was it called when you took music off the internet and stuck it on a CD? What was it called? Burning. I'm burning a CD. Just like that. Just indoctrination. Just there you go. You're burning a CD. Because they understood that oversupply is inundation. It floods the market. It takes something that was held as a fucking family heirloom, as a cultural artifact where you might have 4 records, and they meant the entire world to you. And they burnt it. They burnt our archives of our culture. And they told us all that they were doing it. And they made us use the language. You're going to go burn a CD. Can you burn a CD for me? Can you burn a CD? Like, imagine, because the CD had already been implanted as the new model. If you said, can you burn a record? What the hell are you talking about? I've got a fucking rare fucking Led Zeppelin record or something like that. Can you burn it for me? What? No? Fuck off. What are you, a Nazi? They're fucking, look, don't get me wrong, they're geniuses, right? And this is like an abandoned fucking like uranium mine that we all have access to, right? They've all abandoned ship. They're all fucking hiding. Trust me, they're all fucking hiding. And we now have supercomputers and fucking super instruments to go and fucking what are they called? Like the radiation meters, to go and like go back and fucking analyze the last 100 years of shit that we've been fucking sold. And everything is fucking a ton. It's like that, burning CDs. I could fucking spend the next 5 years writing articles about how much fucking shit they did towards that burning CDs archetype. And when in simple one sentence, I've declared that was in fact them pre-knowing what they were doing. You know, Steve Jobs burnt every fucking book. You know, Netflix means, in Russian, means no. Нет. Netflix. Even internet means inter, inside yourself. No. Internet. The World Wide Web. You know, webs are only good if you're the spider. They're not good if you're the fly. And trust me, none of you are the spider. Just constantly. This is like, if you see a fucking dorsal fin while you're out in the ocean, it's a shark fin. You know, you should be worried. This is the same. They cannot, biologically, we cannot build predatory models without declaring them. I don't know how that works. This is why a redback spider has a red back. It's almost non-existent for a dangerous animal to not be advertising the fact that it's dangerous. It's part of the I don't exactly know how it works, but this is what we're dealing with. You know, in the minute, like, just go spend your morning, think about that. Netflix, Russian for no flicks, no movies, because movies were being utilized in the Russian mindset as aggressive propaganda to destroy their fucking Soviet utopia. Every single thing needs to be understood in reference to the Cold War, right? But the Cold War is just retarded now. You know what I mean? And it's like we have all of this. It's all failed. We are back to basic logistics and basic, things where it's like we need to build houses, live in them, and have societies that don't deteriorate. That's it. It's not communism because it's not collectivism. It's localization, and it's that is the only insurance against collectivization. You know what I mean? And if appropriately activated, if in this system, if one small village that had a really good, whatever, said, hang on, they're burning CDs, we're not going to fall for this. That would have gone to the neighboring thing, and that would have spread organically, and they would have destroyed it in one go. I'll show you a fucking cultural artifact right now. That they want you to forget. You know what I mean? Like this, I feel like fucking Indiana Jones digging around in my current girlfriend's ex-husband's fucking what do they call it? Fucking tomb. His Egyptian fucking DJ tomb here. Like, look, this is really, they're all burnt CDs, right? Trance, silence mix, 25, disc, electro, fever, the 15th birthday, rockin' something or other, like this is evidence. Fully charged mix, burnt CDs. This is consumptive, disappearing Snapchat fucking music. You know what I mean? This is the display. Like look at that. Like people bought these. 50 discs. Do you know how many fucking songs as MP3s fit on one of these? There's 50 of them. This is what built this fucking system. And it's all iterative fucking chaotic fucking destruction. That's an iteration that hasn't been appropriately dealt with. Oh, there was this thing when we burnt CDs. Oh, hang on. And see, what they try to do is they try and steamroll ahead. So basically children don't even know what a CD is. So how would you ever display the fact that burning a CD would be bad? And then you have to get to a thing where it's like, what about burning a person? Is that bad? And they go, yeah, that's bad. Free Palestine, right? And it's like, well, do you know that 6 million Jews were burnt by the Nazis? Is that bad? And it's like we're stuck in a system because there's no cultural artifacts that are precious. They're all on target. They're all just like, we'll burn everything. That's what the Nazis did. Does anyone know that all of this shit, right, is exactly alignment with Nazi ideology, and that the first thing the Nazis did was burn all the books of the shit? So they've combined. They're basically like, Nazis burnt all the fucking LGBTQ fucking books, all the fucking socialist books. They burnt all of that, then went to war with this thing. It's like, so what they did is they just didn't do that bit. They mock it and they condemn it. It's there to be burnt if they want to, and they are burning it, but they just symbolically burn it. They over-distribute it. So basically, Nazis came in, burnt all the propaganda to do with the socialist LGBTQ kind of like bohemian fucking Berlin of that era, right? And then they went on to that. They started with books and they ended with Jews, right? 6 million of them, right? So they were against those people. So they came up with the most ingenious thing. They burnt. Right, and they told you the whole time you're burning CDs by mass distributing, by taking the levers of capitalism off the record industry and off the musical world, off the record, off all of it, right? You're absolutely inundating the world in it, drowning the world in the filth that they claim is filth, right? In order to come and eventually condemn and mock and the fucking things again. If you understand, like, Nazis were born as a retaliation towards this bourgeois fucking, not bourgeois, but against this bohemian fucking sexual liberation bullshit. You know, so they got to work building a system, oversupplying, you know, basically indoctrinating their enemies to look like they're being overthrown. Oh my God, all the pride movement is overthrowing us. Oh my God, look at it. It's just like World War II Berlin all over again. It's just the same. Oh my God. And then they're like, we're back, because they did it all. They supplied the fucking bullshit, but they did it sneakily. They did it through this shit. They did it through this fucking implant, Netflix, you know, internet, burning CDs, you know, Napster, asleep. You're sleeping on the job. There's a constant mocking. So you take all of the things, and which basically means it's like the Nazis basically built their own fucking enemy. They hypercharged their own enemy with all of the evidence so that they're all fucking filled with it. Because think about this at the moment. I could go, this is evidence to do with theft, intellectual property theft, and designing assisted, and then I expose the enemy, right? And then I fucking goose step in and get us all to fucking the Third Reich, and I'd be successful. But it isn't that. It's designed. I fucking hacked through the middle. I said, you fucking hippies on the left, shut the fuck up. And you fucking crazy lunatic fucking tech fucking Nazis, you better fucking stop exactly everything you're fucking doing and basically fucking hide. Because there's no way. I'm just bulldozing a fucking road through the middle of it and saying, fuck this. It is free game. It is everyone's fucking ultimate fucking extreme sport now to go back in the last 60 years and tear it to fucking pieces. Nothing is fucking sacred. Every single little fucking aspect should be ripped to fucking shreds. You know, Steve Jobs, he has destroyed more literature than any fucking person in the world. And he did it all without fucking striking a match. You know, Steve Jobs, he destroyed more music than any fucking one else, and he did it all without striking a match. Apple, the same. There's just, this is it. There is no technical solution for humanity level problems. You know, occasionally there is a very simplistic application of some type of tool, usually a tool to do with lifting or manual labor. That's it. Anytime we apply these level tools to administration and to organization, that's the wrong place. The place that technology goes is like, if there's a particular job that is very destructive, and that's where like there are some type of administration, but all of it goes to allowing these gigantic fucking mechanical fucking monstrosities like Amazon to get bigger. And it's like that same exact technology can be utilized now because it's now at scale. It's now cost effective. And this is where it's like, Jeff, if you want to redeem your soul and you don't want to spend the rest of your life in a fucking prison cell, you turn your entire distribution system to distribute Amazon factories like it was hardware, like it was a PC. And you can thank me for giving me that fucking huge boat that you have. You know, that's what people do when they get really, really amazing once in a fucking generation consulting advice on how to their you know, acquired fucking resources and equity into something that will be rewarded and will be, you know, will be recognized as something significant. So the same way that you burnt every book, right? You now distribute the systemology to every small person that wants to start a bookshop. you know? Called whatever, never called Amazon. Can you imagine everyone with a typewriter, like every writer, every journalist, every school teacher, every assistant, every secretary had to acknowledge manufacture of the typewriter? That's never where we lived. The reason we haven't settled into what's going on is because of this lure, this fucking ring of power, fucking Lord of the Rings bullshit that every single CEO has been inflicted by. It's like you turn it into something and you step quietly back. You know what I mean? I radically disrupted and almost destroyed human literature and replaced it with a fucking red dot warehouse, which is this bullshit lowest common denominator. And then right at the last minute, I got some good advice for a very, very affordable price of a beautiful boat. And get now. You know what I mean? It's like, this is the thing. It's like, why would anyone buy anything off Amazon if Jeff Bezos can't get me his boat to Perth, you know, in a timely manner to thank me for this, you know, once in a fucking lifetime advice? You sell the methodology, you sell the toolbox, you sell the warehouse the generic warehouse. You know, you're then basically a stakeholder in the reestablishment of good order and the reestablishment of a good society, rather than the bringer of doom. You know, then you buy a new boat and you sit back and fucking chill. You know, you were so close, and it's 1 degree of change, really. That's all. And it shows the way for everyone going forward. It's like Spotify. You sell the distribution system of Spotify to each region. So if you're an independent radio host, you buy Spotify's fucking generic program, right? And then it's like, so when you turn Spotify on, you get Spotify Perth, and it's a person that bought that thing. It's really simple, right? It's everything divided by thousands and thousands of local constituencies, local governments. You know what I mean? Which basically, and that's your cash out. You know, it's not the Nazi fucking European Union cash out. It's distributed, generic, fucking highest possible level cash out. Yeah, and it's the only thing that will be respected. And it's the same with like the digital money. It's like that digital money needs to be consolidated into local holdings that react differently. So, you know, why should I be fucking floating around in the same Bondi fucking, you know, fucking party, fucking currency, if I'm doing something completely different? I don't want to be. You know, we need to differentiate. We need to have a handicap system applied to local government currency. You know, I want a system that basically applies the reward of good, stable, slow and steady capitalism, you know, which is secure, which has a rating that's high. Because we are talking about inflation, you know. So if you want to float around in fucking Sydney, you have the full weight of the real inflation. And if you want to live in a thing, you don't have any inflation. In fact, you might have negative inflation. That's how it works. It's a handicap system. That way you basically turn your entire digital economy into an appropriate fucking adjudicated market system. You know, that takes a lot of the thing. Then you have incentive to move around. This is the emphasis of free trade, but it's through the new model of this globally dispersed currency, you know, stock trading agreement. And this was, I don't know if many of you know, that this was one of the main reasons Australia was federated in the first place. You know, these are big boys' suggestions. These aren't stealing from fucking old people. You know, it's like you only get to try that once. Yeah, the minute you try it, the minute you come out guns blazing and you fail epically, you need to fucking get out of the room, because you've exposed yourself. You're a grubby fucking thief. You're a fucking grubby fucking opportunist cunt. The lot of you, every single last one of you. You chose a moment, you activated a response to go and fucking have your revolution, and it fizzled out like a fucking sparkler fucking bomb that we've all made out of 2 fucking soft drinks. You know, fuck off. Get the fuck out of the fucking room. You know, go and explore the fucking ruins of your fucking of your reign, the ruins of your fucking regime. You know, and beg for forgiveness. Go and fucking help a farmer fucking carry hay bales for 6 months. You'll feel better about yourself. You know, just wake the fuck up out of this delusion. This is like the gold rush in reverse. It's like the gold is all there. It's hidden in data. It's hidden in fucking in covert, like large scale corporate expansion. It's hidden in all these things. It's right there. It's really easy. And look how much money I've made this morning by mining this gold. Yeah, lots. Maybe put a figure on it. You know what I mean? Like Meta, put a figure on it. Amazon, I told you, put a figure on it. Spotify, put a figure on it. YouTube, put a figure on it. And I think I said Meta already, you know, and who else? The real estate fucking guild of Australia, you know, the construction guild of Australia. It's like, put some figures on it. I'm not doing this politically. I'm not doing this to get a fucking ribbon at the end of the day. I'm doing it to fucking make money. If you don't pay me, then why should we pay you? You know, I'm not going into a world with these back-end deals. It's like you make it public. You know, I want my boat here. You know, whatever Meta's going to give me, I want it. Physically, buy me a fucking big patch of land. I don't know. YouTube, buy me something else. The fucking real estate thing. Get me the things. Gimme. Come on, fuck me. This is it. You want to fucking fly to Mars and claim you're a fucking billionaire because you build electric cars? Because you pulled them out of someone else's fucking bottom drawer and put a fucking, put a marketing strategy on it? What the fuck is that? That's not, obviously you did some amazing things as well, okay? You did some amazing engineering and I'm mocking you for a particular reason. I obviously understand the complexity of what you've actually done. But it's like if it's not reflected at the same level, you know, if you can't come in and fix the largest, most complicated fucking Rolls Royce with absolute precision where no one fucking, you know, no one, it's like, and you don't pay that person, I don't want to step into my new fucking life as some type of covert fucking person that's hiding shit. You know what I mean? Pay me. Then I'll pay tax with what I'm paid. I'll pay the capital gains tax straight out. It's like, hurry the fuck up, though. How can I ever do it? It's like, this is the Ponzi scheme you're in. Oh, let's raise capital gains. But the person that goes and does these fucking deals is like, it doesn't exist. You know, this is disruption. Get used to it. Yeah, but this one huge hit, taking out 4 huge fucking identified industries in one fucking thing and pivoting them into long-term slow capitalist production. You know what I mean? That's what I do. That's my job. There you go. That is your next fucking 100 years. You didn't even think you had 100 years. You thought the world was going to end. You know, you pay for that. The same as Tesla came into the Ford factory and stuck an X on there, you pay for that fucking product. If you don't, we'll tear the fucking place down. We'll burn it to the fucking ground. And I'll build my empire the old-fashioned way. I have no aspirations to build or conquer or control anyone, right? I want to quietly do what I do. And that's what's gotten me to here, and that's what's enabled me to do all of this. You know, you have no fear at all that I'm going to do anything dangerous or reckless. It's going to be the quite opposite. Slow, steady, capitalist environmentalism. You know what I mean? It's basically like it's an ultimate win-win. You know, fucking 4 years ago, someone pulled the emergency brake and activated me, but that needs to be paid for. And I will promise that money will be utilized at the highest level and will provide prosperity all across the place. It'll make these fucking mining oligarchs look like a KFC fucking franchise owner. You know what I mean? It's time to get to work. Look at these things. Honestly, you know what I mean? Generic fucking ear noise. Disguised as art, disguised as, you know, it's fucking atrocious. But yeah, there aren't many of me. I'm your only hope. If you let these autistic fucking, childless fucking super nerd fucking podcasters run the world, then you're eventually going to encounter, a reinvigorated Mongol fucking empire that's going to hideously kill you all in your sleep. And I'll be fucking leading the fucking charge. So just pivot now before the inevitable fucking comes in. It's the way, it's the only way forward. And I don't know. Think of the new phrase, we'll always have listening to some generic DJ while smoking a vape, while completely off our heads on MDMA under fucking fluorescent fucking strobe lights, and then getting an Uber home. We'll always have that. That's a whole generation scourged with those type of fucking gross, disgusting fucking memories. I've got way better memories. I've got we'll always have. I'm not even going to divulge. I don't actually speak of my personal exploits, my personal conquests, but they're a lot better than that. That's gross. Think how many impairments there are to even forming a memory in the first place. You know what I mean? And then it's all polluted with this disgusting corporate filth. It's like your own fucking memories are infested with this fucking PR bullshit. Ugh. Ugh. What a fucking, imagine how many marriages are based on that. The marriage is basically a collective agreement between 6, marketing strategies of 6 multi-global corporations. It's fucking gross. Anyway, thank you for listening. Good day.